This video falls under fair use. Fair use allows commentary, criticism, and reactions. What's up, back with another one, and today we're breaking down Stephen A. responding to Draymond Green over the Luka trade drama and whether the media went too far on Nico Harrison. So let's check this clip out.
That I just can't rock with. I think we were all quite shocked and baffled to see Luka Dončić traded away from the Dallas Mavericks to the Los Angeles Lakers. Like, you just don't see franchise players that young traded. You just don't see it. It's just not a normal thing. And so we were all shocked by that. And Nico Harrison continued to give his reasonings on why he believed that was the right thing to do for the Dallas Mavericks organization. Was it the right thing or wrong thing? I'm not a Dallas Maverick. I don't really care if it was the right thing or the wrong thing. But what I do care about is so many people crushed Nico Harrison for the reasons that he gave. And when Nico gave those reasonings, everybody said he's ridiculous, he's crazy. This has nothing to do with Luka, by the way, what I'm saying. But now when I turn on the TV, all I see is everybody in the media who crushed Nico Harrison, who essentially aided in him getting fired, regurgitating the same things that Nico Harrison was saying. And I struggle with that because I haven't seen one person come out and say, hey, Nico, I'm sorry for the things I said about you when you made that move. Because I just said the same thing out of my mouth. I struggle with that a bit. Again, this has nothing to do with Luka Dončić and everything to do with the media and Nico Harrison. Nico gave his reasonings as the general manager of a team of why he thought that was the right move. And everybody said, you're an idiot. You should be fired. Worst general manager in NBA history. And now all of you people are saying the same thing. But no one has said, maybe Nico was right. Maybe Nico was validated in the move he made. Maybe Nico shouldn't have been fired. No one has said that. But everybody said Nico should be fired because he traded Luka. I struggle with this. I struggle with the lack of...
So that was Draymond Green saying Nico Harrison got too much backlash for trading Luka Dončić, implying the trade was good for Luka and for his former team. Now, we are going to take a listen to Stephen A. as he steps in with a firm response. He makes it clear that Draymond is missing the bigger picture. So check this clip out.
Is Draymond Green right, S.A.?
No, he's not. He's very wrong. And he's wrong with his depiction of what people were saying. I think that in this particular instance, Draymond Green is being incredibly unfair. As a person that has his podcast, that's a member of the quote-unquote new media, a phrase he's coined, listen, you're allowed to deduce what you see and come to a conclusion and spew your point of view. That's what he does. This man has a full-time job, getting paid an exorbitant amount of money, deserves every penny. He's a four-time champion, a former Defensive Player of the Year, who will be a Hall of Famer. He has the credentials to say what he says, but in the same breath, be fair about it. The reality of the situation is that Draymond is saying that because he's fond of Nico Harrison. Well, I got news for you. A lot of us are fond of Nico Harrison. Nico Harrison is a great guy. Vinny, Wendy, I know you guys have met him. You guys have spoken to him. Who dislikes Nico Harrison? Who has a negative thing to say about Nico Harrison, the person, or anything like that? Who had a negative thing to say about him prior to the trade? Nobody. He had helped lead the Dallas Mavericks to the NBA Finals and made some deals that were, the Kyrie Irving deal, the PJ Washington, a Daniel Gafford. He did a lot of good moves. I mean, this understandably so. But the Luka Doncic thing stands out. And Draymond Green should know better in terms of when you're talking about highlighting what transpired. The man is unemployed now. Why do you think that is? You think it is an accident? You think there's no correlation? The fact of the matter is that Luka Doncic, for all of his flaws, was a 25-year-old basketball global iconic figure. He wasn't just a great basketball player on the court. He was good for business because of his global appeal. And you let that go And how do you let it go? It wasn't just that you traded Luka Doncic. You traded him for a dude that was almost 6 years older, that was just as, if not more, injury prone. And by the way, when he arrived, he had a great game, a great half, his opening game, and then obviously got injured. That was the concern. And the real issue, the egregious part about it, which Draymond again should know, and he should know from personal experience, because before the trading deadline, when it was a possibility that he was going to be traded, what did the Golden State Warriors, led under Joe Lacob and Steve Kerr and these boys, actually do? They put feelers out there to see what level of marketability he would generate. That is not what Nico Harrison did. Nico Harrison got on the phone with one dude, which was, Rob Pelinka in the Los Angeles Lakers. And this guy, in an era where we saw a whole bunch of picks received for Kevin Durant by Phoenix. We saw Orlando give up picks for Desmond Bane. We saw 5 first-round picks given up for Mikal Bridges. You had Anthony Davis and Max Christie and a pick to show for Luka Doncic. That was the crime, that you didn't put him on the market and literally see what you could get for him. And I'll end by saying this, guys. If Luka Doncic had been put on the open market by Nico Harrison, can we even sit here and imagine the assets that would have been offered for him? Think about that for a second. That's the issue. And so knowing that and just throwing it at the media and talking about people, we're talking about him and he's terrible. No, the deal in hindsight appears to be a very terrible deal, but the Mavericks lucked up because they got the #1 pick with the ping pong balls, which was Cooper Flag. That is what happened. But in the end, there's no regrets here. I can take no joy out of saying anything. It wasn't me that was talking about him that way, by the way, but others who have. I didn't see anybody that hated on Nico Harrison as a person, as an executive, or the job that he did in Dallas overall. They were talking about this one deal, which was egregious and will forever stain him. So much so, it is highly unlikely he will ever get a job as a basketball executive in the NBA again because of this one deal. That's how bad it appears to be. Draymond knows that. He has to know that. So to label it any differently,
Stephen A. comes into this discussion firm and unapologetic, making it clear that Draymond Green is missing the bigger picture. According to Stephen A., the criticism toward Nico Harrison was never about character or personality. In fact, he emphasizes that many around the league respect Nico and even credit him for helping build a finals-level team. The issue, in his view, is centered entirely on the Luka Doncic trade itself. Luka was not just another talented player. He was a young global icon, a franchise cornerstone, and a business engine all in one. Stephen A. argues that when you move a player of that magnitude, you explore every possible offer. You create a bidding environment. You maximize leverage. Instead, he believes Nico limited the process by negotiating with one team, which prevented the Mavericks from discovering the true market value Luka could have commanded. Make sure to drop a comment and like this video, and I'll see you in the next video.